Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today is a very special day, for it is the birthdays of both Her Eternal Excellency, the Almighty Narukami Ogosho, God of Thunder, as well as the illustrious in the extreme, Her Royal Sass EiMiko, the Wise and Beautiful. Back to back. A glorious day for Inazuman waifu enjoyers such as myself. To celebrate, I wanted to take this moment to really talk about something that I have previously alluded to. The sweatiest Raiden Inquisition rotation possible. Hello everyone, welcome back. For those who are new here, the Raiden Inquisition is what you would call a Raikou team, a Raiden team with EiMiko. This is a little bit different to, let's say, the, dare I say, outdated Raikou team that is used in the Akasha leaderboards. For this version does take advantage of quite a handful of special abilities and effects that have come from, let's say, a modest bit of spending, especially from much more recent additions into the game. So real quick, before we get right into it, like the video, don't forget to subscribe. I have a few videos I want to do coming up, including of course the Mawika rerun videos, so if you ring that bell icon, you will be notified of the latest videos on the channel. Now, enough yapping, let's get into it. The rotation for the Raiden Inquisition that I have been practicing, it's arguably way too dank, is as follows. We're going to start off with Miko's turrets and then a skill. Once you have that sorted out, now the real loot begins. Xilonen skill into Sara, into Miko, using her ult and then back to dropping those turrets. Then Sara with a charge attack. Then A with her ult and then of course popping off, but specifically 2 charge attacks. And then we're going to swap back to Xilonen and we're right at it again. Now, you don't have to use 2 charge attacks with A. You can of course use, let's say, 2 full normal attack chains or a mix of both 1 normal attack chain and a charge attack. That does seem to work out. Now, if we were to try this out right now, there is a chance that you may not be able to make this work at all, because you might be missing some key ingredients. So let's have a look at what makes this rotation actually function how we are seeing it in the video. The first thing we're going to need is Xilonen C2. This is a constellation that for electro characters restores 25 energy and it reduces the burst cooldown by 6 seconds, which is huge because we're talking about Miko using her ult every rotation without dropping her turrets again. Her burst is a 22-second cooldown, whereas Sara's of course is also a 20-second cooldown. The main focus being on Miko's cooldown dropping to 16 seconds does mean that the ult cooldown is 2 seconds longer than turret duration, but it does seem like Miko's burst has a little bit longer than a 2-second animation time, so essentially it all barely lines up that you don't actually have to drop another turret in order to use Miko's burst in order to get the 3 pops that we'll talk about in a second. Either way though, if you're feeling a little bit finicky about it, you can of course also drop a turret right before Miko's burst just to be absolutely sure. The second thing you're going to need is Sara C2. So that way, your tap skill can drop a crow feather, and then later on, when I say you use Sara's charge attack, that will then drop a crow feather. That way we can use that on A so that she can also do extra damage. Now there's a couple of other things that can be very, very useful. Miko's C1. This is actually very nice to have. If you don't have it, it's not mandatory. You can still make it work. Because what does Miko's C1 do? It makes it so that you will never have any energy problems. In fact, your ER requirements for EiMiko in this team is like actually none, which is insane because she has a 90 cost burst. We're not getting that much energy regen from A in this particular rotation because she's not going to be on field for that long, but that's okay because Xilonen with her C2 is giving 25 energy, so that's going to be really, really good. With that C1, provided you have all 3 turrets on the field, you're getting another 24. That's vital. So that makes a huge difference right there. Ergo, making sure you have those 3 turrets before you drop Miko's burst is pretty much the key to all of this. Without her C1 though, you will need something just shy of about 140 ER in order for this rotation to run absolutely smoothly. Now, for reference, KQM has stated that normal teams with the Raiden Shogun will need somewhere between 140 and 150 ER, so Xilonen's C2 is at least shaving off around about 10-ish, maybe, ER from there, so that's pretty, really good. I will outline this in a second, but if you do need to use Xilonen's burst in order to heal, then you will probably need a smidge over 150 ER on Miko. I will talk about that reasoning in a second. And then finally, the other nice thing to have is, of course, Raiden's C1. By using this constellation, the idea is that we're not going to be using Xilonen's ult, with the obvious exception of needing to heal. So unless you need to heal with Xilonen, no bursting with her. Without C1, A would only get 34 resolve stacks from Miko and Sara's burst. Then there's another 12 coming from A1, so that's 46 out of 60 resolve. So we're not quite there yet, but we're still close-ish. Whereas with Xilonen's burst being another 12 resolve stacks, that would of course bring up to 58 out of the 60 resolve stacks, so that's actually pretty fine. But if we're not going to burst with Xilonen, then obviously A is going to be doing a fair bit less damage. With that C1 though, here's the thing. Because Miko and Sara's bursts are the most expensive in the game, well, it turns out that A pretty much gets all 60 resolve stacks just from those bursts alone, ignoring the A1 even. So at that point, Musou no Hitotachi is guaranteed to be at full strength every single time. What happens though if you do need to heal with Xilonen, like I mentioned? The rotation actually doesn't end up cooked, we just sacrifice a bit of on-field time from A in order to accompany it. Instead of doing 2 charge attacks, or the time equivalent of that, we're just doing 1 charge attack. And then we go straight back to Xilonen, we do her skill, her ult, then 2 normal attacks, and then we move on with the rest of the rotation. Thanks again to that C1 Miko, if you have it, her ER requirement, previously being absolutely none, stays as absolutely none, even in this version of the rotation. This is, by definition, a 16-second rotation, so I have been categorizing it as incredibly sweaty. Does it result in more DPS than just cruising like I used to with the Raiden Inquisition? I would hope so, because we're using Miko's burst more often, and it does hit really, really hard. At least with my EiMiko. I don't know about yours, but with my EiMiko having a crowned burst, she does hit really, really hard with that burst. Now, I won't claim that this is some super meta team up there with the likes of like the Nuvalettes and the Mawika teams of the world, but at least in my experience, with the exception of ultra anti-electro spiral abyss chambers, I have been clearing the spiral abyss with this team, with this rotation. Even the current one in the first half, where there is a little bit of anti-electro, at least against that cryo mage boss chick. But either way though, I am clearing those chambers fast enough for me to be able to faff around a little bit in the second half as well. Obviously though, not all of us have these characters. So what other options do we have? Instead of Miko, you can of course run someone like Lisa on EOSF or Fischl, but I would argue that's not going to be nearly as satisfying because Fischl's ult, Midnight Phantasmagoria, doesn't do that much damage. This is meant to be a Raikou team though, so just keep that in mind, but you know, obviously not everyone's going to be playing Raikou, so there's your options right there. C2 Xilonen, on the other hand, is the key to this. Without her, the entire thing falls apart. Instead of Sara, you can run Iansan or even Kaz. Doubling up on that red shred is probably not a great idea. I would lean a little bit more to Iansan in that regard. And I don't think there's anyone you could run in this team instead of A. You kind of still need the ER or the energy that A is providing, even if it's limited compared to what she normally provides. So yeah, I probably wouldn't be replacing her with someone like Clorand or Senno, for example. If you don't have A, you might as well go back to playing a much more cruisy team that focuses on having Xilonen pop her skill twice per Miko burst in the rotation, for example, or you might as well just start playing a completely different team. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Does this team sound like something that you are interested in trying out? Have you been playing something similar to this? Let me know in the comments. Despite the fact that this team is sweat lordy as all hell, I'm actually quite enjoying it. So that's my recommendation right there. If you have the stomach to even get into it, I think you may find quite a fair bit of satisfaction from playing a team like this. Alright, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Impact action. Once again, a merry happy birthday to the Raiden Shogun and EiMiko, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Here. There is no escape. Flash! No turning back. Nothing lasts forever.
The